I'm just going to come out and say it. The left and the mainstream media, which has become one and the same, have completely lost their minds. Totally. Let me put it this way. Their cheese isn't on the cracker. The lights are on, but no one is home. The mall is open, but the stores are closed. The oven is heated, but there aren't any biscuits. The elevator doesn't go to the top floor. The cornbread isn't done in the middle. Those are just a few of the metaphors that describe the minds of those running the governing left and the media these days. At least 6 of the Dr. Seuss books are being pulled and banned because some genius saw a subtle message of racism in the stories. Dr. Seuss we're talking about. When Dr. Seuss is considered racist, the term no longer means anything. We are truly living in la-la land. I was a speaker at the Conservative Political Action Conference, better known as CPAC, last weekend, and there was a controversy over the shape of the stage. It appears that some folks had surmised that the shape of the stage at the Hyatt Hotel in Orlando was similar to an obscure Nazi symbol. In fact, it was so obscure that most people had never heard of it or seen it, but the loons on the left saw it. One must wonder, what else did they see? And do we need to get them emergency medical help for them seeing things that just aren't there? Of course, the media was all too happy to report it as if there was a shred of truth. The hotel was pressured to cancel the rest of the conference. What the not-so-smart reporters failed to discover was that the designer of the alleged Nazi symbol stage, the guy that built it, was in fact Jewish. A little detail ignored by the breathless reporting of the New York Times, CNN, NBC, and the Washington Post. The truth is, the stage was designed to accommodate the entrance and exit of the speakers so as to accommodate social distancing. Nothing about it was a symbol of anything. I mean, the people who pretended to see Nazi symbolism are kind of like the people who look at a puff of smoke from a campfire and think they see the image of Elvis Presley. People are hospitalized for stuff like this. But if it represents an attack on conservatives, Christians, or Donald Trump supporters, the worst and most idiotic and outlandish allegations must be true. And remember all the wailing and gnashing of teeth that Donald Trump had put children of illegal immigrants in cages? Of course, it turned out that the so-called cages were actually created and used by the Obama administration back in 2014. But the media displayed the 2014 photos and blamed Donald Trump for creating something a full 3 years before he even became president. And all during the election last year, President Trump was accused of putting children in terrible housing conditions along the border. Joe Biden got celebrated for taking so much better care of the children, despite the fact that he's housing kids in the exact same housing pods that the Department of Homeland Security used during President Trump's tenure. And when asked about it, Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, essentially said that their intentions were better, so it was okay. You can't make this stuff up. But the press in the room didn't push back or argue that it was the same housing, exactly the same. They just oohed and ahed and gushed about how compassionate Joe Biden was to put kids in shipping containers. Look, the left and the media have lost their minds, but the rest of us shouldn't. I mean, we really do need to pray for these people. They ought not to be allowed to have scissors, knives, or any other sharp objects. They need help, urgent help. Because people this crazy, they're not just a danger to themselves, but to our entire country and way of life. But in the meantime, they don't care that Joe Biden doesn't answer their questions unless they are submitted in advance and put on a little card for him to read. Because they're too busy being amazed that Joe Biden actually put a log in the fireplace at the White House. And all by himself. No help. Folks, it was like watching a grandmother drool over her 3-year-old grandchild making a duty all by himself. And yes, these people in the media and on the left are crazy. Yes, they are. Now, if you want more videos like that one, hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell right next to it. And if you leave a comment, positive or negative, I'll be sure that my dog Toby sees it and responds to you in kind.